Welcome to our webinar, Why You Need to Grow Your Influence to Accelerate Your Career. I'm Art Petty. I'm an executive and emerging leader and career coach and former software industry executive, and I'm joined by my co-host, co-collaborator, Anita Lauper Wood. Hi, Anita.
Hi, Art. This is a pleasure to work with you today. We've known each other for a long time, so this is a topic that we both know is extremely important and valuable. And I have a technology, product strategy background, and these essential skills are so critical and have helped me a great deal and our clients as well. So we're happy to be here with you.
Absolutely thrilled. And you know what Anita's not saying is she's the brains behind this operation here. So thanks for making this influence topic so important for me and for all of us. So why do we want to start with the influence topic? I think that's really an important question to ask. Why are we taking the time to create this webinar? Well, in our opinion, your relationship with influence really does determine your career trajectory. There's no doubt about it. And, over and over again in my coaching calls, this is the topic that comes up. People underinvest in this for a lot of reasons that we'll talk about.
Absolutely. And here's a quote that we love from someone we really admire, Dory Clark. Having influence in the workplace does absolutely have clear value. Sometimes we think that it's this complex, intangible thing that we're reaching for, but there's clear value there. You get more done, you advance the projects you care about, which means you're more likely to get noticed, get promoted, and receive raises. And that's what we're here to help you with, is to help you advance yourself and get more done and do more of the things that you love to do that you know need to get done by using one small yet powerful skill, right?
Yeah, and you've got a nice story to kind of tie it off and really underscore this issue.
Yeah, this is a person very close to me, and Art and I helped her through this painful situation. This story is really important, and we see this time and time again, and I've felt it myself. Amaya really felt the pain of ignoring the importance of influence. She was up for a very, very important promotion in her career, and she was the top candidate. Everybody thought she would get the job, right? Even the search committee and the head of that area said that they recommended her. She knew that she was passed over because she didn't have the same influence as the other candidate. And unfortunately, she ended up training this other candidate because he got the job. He used influence with the final decision maker. And the reason I have a happy picture here is because in the end, Amaya worked with me and Art, and she participated in our programs, and she knew that the influence was what cost her. And she went on to find a better opportunity, a bigger career move. And she used what she learned about influence to help her do that. And she is so excited about this topic. And so she's a really good example of, what many of our customers experience and we ourselves as well over our careers.
Absolutely. Yeah. A painful lesson to learn, but she did in fact learn it. And I love the happy ending there for Amaya.
Yes. So what are we going to share with you today? Lots of good stuff. First, the false beliefs that get in our way of deliberately cultivating our influence. The direct connection between growing your influence and helping your organization. And how growing your influence impacts your career success. I mean, just like Amaya, right? So we'll talk about that. And how to get started today. We want to give you some really immediately applicable tips and then some resources you can use to get started.
Sounds like a full agenda, but we're going to pack it into a very convenient time for you. But Anita, before we get started, we just have to address the elephant in the room on this topic. All right. So we mentioned, it's all about cultivating influence. The challenge is for all of us that growing your influence means engaging in the political environment in your organization. There's just no avoiding it. And something we'd like you to think about, and Jot down your thoughts on this one. When we talk about this notion of workplace politics, about engaging in the political environment in your organization, what thoughts come to your mind? Go ahead and jot some ideas down. Anita, what are some of those that we've heard most frequently on different events?
Well, most of them are painful, right? They're negative, scary. Workplace politics are challenging, frustrating, annoying, difficult.
Yeah,
Yuck.
yeah. Well, you just stole my thunder there, because that was the number one response that I got on a recent event was yuck. I think a bunch of people copied it because they felt the same about it. Yeah. I mean, let's face it, for the most part, this is what we feel like, right? We love Wind Tunnel Man here, as you've named him. For many of us, the idea of engaging in our political environment just looks and feels like that. We don't want to do it.
Right. I don't mean to laugh whenever I see that picture, because it's serious, right? But
It
it's the
is.
picture that makes me laugh, and it's not the pain that makes me laugh. And this pain and these challenges, I want to point out that there are always different factors. This is different in every organization, different in the political environment is different across different industries, different cultures, different organizational cultures, different geographical locations. So there are a lot of factors going on here, and gender is one of them. And, I can relate to this, working in high tech for so many decades. Men and women don't look at this the same way, the office politics and power dynamics. And I like Catherine Heath's research that really looked at this, right? Men will talk about competition, the tools people use, and whereas women are more likely to look at it as a natural part of influence and emphasize shaping ideas and agendas. So neither of these are better or worse or wrong or right. It's just, I want us, as we go through this, everybody to think about, this looks a little different for everybody, right?
It does
Growing
indeed.
your
Yeah.
influence. Yes, there are
Yeah.
different factors that come to play, and everybody's situation is a little different.
Yeah, I mean, we had to kind of reconcile our own differing views on this topic when we came
Mhm.
together to begin doing some of the work and develop the
Absolutely.
programs here. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, well said, and a great quote there.
Mm.
All right, so here's what we hear from clients on this notion of engaging and developing influence, engaging in the political environments. Probably the number one response: I don't want to play those games. We hear that over and over again. I've lost count. This one comes up all too often. It's a boys' club, and I'm not the right fit. The third one, people have a perspective. Hey, to play politics around here, you have to be willing to stab people in the back. We don't want to stab anyone in the back, hit anybody with the sharp elbows, or step on toes, but we do want to engage. And we'll talk more about that as we go. Number four, our executives hold all of the power, and I'm not comfortable engaging with them. So getting beyond that kind of natural power distance that seems to exist in too many organizations. Another view that we hear, people perceive that playing politics means playing I win, you lose type scenarios, and they'll quickly highlight, hey, that's not me. And number six, when we talk about this idea of advocating for yourself, people will perceive I'm a jerk if I start bragging about my contributions and accomplishments. So just over and over again, some strong statements, the themes, at least if the words aren't the same, the themes come through.
Absolutely. And some of you probably wrote those things down.
Some of you probably remember saying them, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, let's do a little reality check here and dive in. Some things that we need to keep in mind going forward. And we're not making this up. There is research, tons of it. And we like Jeffrey Pfeffer's, the classic, very famous power book, that focuses on this. The research does show time and time again that being politically savvy and seeking power are related to career success. And product success and organizational success, all stakeholders are impacted, right?
No doubt.
So let's talk about some of these facts of organizational life. First one, everywhere humans organize around a purpose, a political environment emerges. So whether that's profit, nonprofit, regardless of industry, it's
the
just
PTA, the PTO.
Yep,
I think
yep.
you've lived some of that, right, Anita?
Exactly. It's just a fact. Fact 2, in every political environment, some individuals develop more influence than others. That's whether they recognize it earlier on or just are a little bit better at it, right? Fact number 3, those who have influence decide what gets done and who does what. That might be painful to
This is the one that clubs
grasp.
me over the head every time,
Yep,
you know?
yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Fact number 4, influence doesn't accrue accidentally. It takes deliberate effort, and let me attest to that. Nobody is just born with this. It's like communication skills. It's like learning how to be an expert at in your profession. It takes effort. Everything takes effort. Fact 5, you don't get to claim I don't want to play those games. Those games are about relationship development, and we'll talk about that quite a bit here today.
Yeah, and I think these are always sobering comments, but again, the research backs us up, and certainly experience backs us up in this case. Those are 5 powerful and important facts to internalize.
This one I love because I can relate very much to this, and I think everybody can. Annoyingly, you can be a great performer and be less successful than someone more politically savvy. Think back to the story about Amaya. I mean, how many times have you experienced this feeling, right? I don't understand why I didn't get that task or was assigned that responsibility or didn't get that promotion. I don't understand. I did a great job.
Anita, I field calls all of the time from great professionals who are just frustrated that they're not getting the visibility. They don't have a seat at the decision table. They're not involved in some of the more strategic projects. And invariably, when we peel the layers back, it's this reality that they didn't cultivate their influence. So others who don't have their same skill sets are getting ahead.
So all that painful information said, what should I do, Art?
We need to do something. And you know what? Here's what we're going to propose. We're going to propose that you start by thinking differently about everything that we've talked about as it relates to influence and power. We're going to challenge you to reframe this. We've got kind of three different, Anita, I'll learn to count next time, 3 different perspectives on how to reframe. So first of all, think about this. It's about maximizing your impact and finding a way to create value for your firm, for your team, and for your colleagues along the way. Number 2, we're not asking you and encouraging you to be someone you're not. This is about being your authentic self and not striving to be someone at odds with your personal values. So again, this notion that you have to step on toes or stab backs or engage in behavior that don't fit your value system, it's not true.
Right.
Number 3,
it's about becoming a better you, not becoming a
yes.
different.
Oh, well said. Well said. And number 3, and it's a phrase that we love, and it's the one I suspect you'll take away from this session. It's all about cultivating clean power. And clean power is built on relationships, trust, and mutual gain. So 3 big things to think about as we expose you to some of the tools and approaches you can use. But the goal is reframe your view on growing your influence. Here's a great quote from Dorie Clark. Take a second and read that. What jumps out at me is the ending of that, and I've underlined it for you. It's possible to succeed at office politics with integrity. That's all about clean power, and that's what we're all about here. Number 2, after you've started thinking differently and reframed it, you've got to commit to doing this. As Anita said earlier, it just doesn't naturally happen. There are no half measures in building and growing your influence if you want to maximize your impact for your team, for your firm, and for yourself in your career. This wonderful person jumping over is committed to this. She's going to stick this landing. So in this case, you're either deliberately developing your influence or you're going to fall short, and it's going to be a really uncomfortable landing. So we want you, again, at the risk of being redundant or being redundant by design, internalize the need to develop or to cultivate your influence. Secondly, define a clean power philosophy that matches with your values. So important to do that. And it's one that was a game changer for me, and I know it was a game changer for you in your career, Anita.
Absolutely.
So let's talk. Here were the big four items, not three, but four. The big four actions for cultivating clean power. One, it's about building relationships in the right places, and we'll share some tips coming up on that. It's about developing and connecting diverse networks. Number three, and I love this one, it's about placing customer, stakeholder, and team needs first. Again, this is clean power here, right? No backstab, no toes stepped on. And number four, it's about harnessing this universal principle of reciprocity, which we'll go into in a little bit more detail coming up. So first, you've got to accept that there's a deep connection between relationship building and influence development. Remember that statement? People say they don't want to play those games. Well, those games are literally all about relationship development. Nothing negative about that.
Next step here, you want to assess before you act. And this is what many of us and many of our clients feel, right? I'm in this dry riverbed and it's really difficult. I'm stuck. Like, how do I move ahead, right? So you have to look at where is your starting point and objectively look at, okay, where am I and what do I need to do to get ahead in this dry riverbed, right?
Anita, I think I don't know who was taking my picture for this one, but I feel like I've spent a good part of my career right there.
Yeah. At different points in our careers, it might feel like that, right? It's not just a one-time deal. So our first power tip here is to create an influencer map for your organization. And this is really about looking at who within your organization does have influence and how do you become more valuable to these people. And we want you to actually write this down, right? Make a physical map. And one thing that when we help our clients do this, one thing that we do notice is that in the first phase of this, you might map out people who are at higher levels in the organization. Well, then you need to drill down some more because there are influencers at the same level as you as well. And that will help you to identify who has influence, but then also build those relationships with those influencers to help build your own influence.
It's amazing what happens when people actually do spend time and map this out. Then it becomes tangible. You know where to go and how to build who to build relationships with. So yeah, great tip.
The second one here, then, once you've looked internally, is to look at your external networks. And we often forget about these because they're a little bit removed and we're all busy, right? And it takes extra time to do this. But if you look at your external networks, if you're limiting yourself to your internal network only or a single network, it's going to collapse upon itself. If you start expanding and connecting your different networks, it's going to help you have influence, learn more, bring more into your organization, new ideas, new knowledge, and help your external networks as well.
We talk a lot in our programs about becoming a network connector, connecting these diverse internal and external networks.
Mark Efron, another favorite here, science shows that influencing and connecting strategies are amazingly effective to get what you need from superiors and peers. And if you think about what you need, that can be anything. That can be resources. We're always competing for resources. Get the work that you want, get the seat at the table, like Art said, get support for a new idea. So what you need, that can span almost anything, right?
Yeah, Anita and I were both the beneficiaries of a great presentation from Professor Brian Uzi at Northwestern on this.
Yes.
So what a great resource as well if you're interested in looking at the import, the power, and the research behind how effective it is to develop and connect these networks.
Absolutely.
We've got to find ways to create value all of the time. The number one question people will call me up with is, hey, Art, how do I get ahead? And my first response is always to succeed wildly where you're at. But along the way, we have to find the opportunity to create something remarkable. We need to create beautiful music for our organizations. And there's a couple of tools that we can use to do that. One of those is this universal principle of reciprocity, right? Reciprocity is effectively that issue that exists, according to researchers, in every society on the planet Earth, in every culture. And it's effectively, hey, if I do something for you, you'll feel compelled to do something for me. So now bring that into the organizational environment. It's really good to create what we term reciprocity debts, right? Which is find ways to genuinely and authentically help people achieve their goals, achieve their objectives. And you know what? When you need their support, they're going to be there for you. So Anita, I know you always have some
Yeah.
value add on this one. This is an important concept for you.
Well, if we think back to what I was talking about, the different factors, everybody has different perspectives on this entire topic. Sometimes this reciprocity might feel too transactional for people.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm going to do something and then they owe me. But it's not just that. This is universal, as Art said. It's our human nature. We want to help people, and people want to help in return. So it's just recognizing that. And I'm a helper at heart, and I have seen, just when people help me in return, it's like, oh, that's nice. Well, it's just how we are as humans. We love to help each other.
Yeah, it's just such an infectious issue within the workplace.
Hmm.
And a great place to start
Hmm.
is creating value for your boss. So one of the other topics that comes up in many of my coaching calls is that individuals really aren't tuned in to effectively what's keeping the boss awake at night. What are the goals, as the boss's aspirations? What are their goals? What is it that you can do with your team and your resources and your networks to help your boss succeed? So in every case, you want to strive to extend her agenda, take away the headaches, and frankly, help her achieve. Someone always chooses us to be successful, and the boss gets the first vote.
Hmm. Definitely.
Here was another one of those painful stories, not dissimilar from Maya's. The outcome wasn't immediately quite as happy. So this is Joseph. Joseph was navigating and running some high visibility projects in the organization. And it turns out that with the pace of everything going on, he failed to engage some of the broader and more important stakeholders. Fast forward, his boss gets called into a board session, and she was unprepared because Joseph hadn't briefed her, hadn't navigated and dealt with those stakeholders. She was unprepared for the criticism she received. Effectively, Joseph admitted he had left her exposed. Sadly, in this case, Joseph lost his job, and this was probably a big component of it.
Hmm.
Positively, Joseph has a great new job and learned this lesson the hard way. But yeah, once again, the influence issue comes home. Make the boss a hero. That's the great place to start practicing cultivating influence. The next one is about taking everything we're talking about, and when you find and uncover or begin to spot those challenges that exist, and we call them gray zone problems, right? They exist everywhere. This is a topic we go deep into in our influence program. We teach people how to succeed in the gray zones. But when you see those, build coalitions, bring the right resources to bear to solve those problems and make those individuals heroes. And so you'll be achieving something wonderful. You'll be solving problems. It will be visible, and you'll be making heroes out of your colleagues, strengthening the reciprocity effect. Ooh,
Here's
do we have to
here's
do this one, Anita? Do we really have to advocate for ourselves?
Yes, of course we do, or we wouldn't be talking about it. This is another uncomfortable area, right? And definitely is different in different areas. And we think about the factors again, right? Different countries, different industries, but it's critical to address this if you want to grow your influence. We have to move beyond the discomfort and just walk out on the stage, right? It's a little bit of that stage fright.
Isn't it all about bragging though? Isn't that the big concern?
Yeah,
Aren't
kind of
we
like
kind
you.
of being that obnoxious jerk no one likes?
Right. But and that's like you said, we hear a lot of that. People are uncomfortable bragging, but here is a great definition of bragging. Bragging is not a bad thing. It is seeding facts about your work strategically and cohesively to get what you want. So in our programs, we talk a lot about best approaches in different environments and dealing with different factors in bragging about yourself, right? But it is important. How are you going to have influence and get credibility and be trusted across your organization and outside your organization if people don't know the great work that you and your teams are doing? So it is essential. So I want you to pause for a little bit here and think about this question. Do you sufficiently advocate for yourself?
How did you do with this earlier in your career, Anita?
I did not much of it to start. And then when I realized I needed to do it, I did too much of it, or the wrong way.
The pendulum, it went from nothing to too much. Did you
Yeah,
find the happy medium?
yes, definitely. And it becomes easier and easier. And you realize that it's not really about you. It's about getting your work done. It's about helping your teams. It's about recognizing your teams and about, and moving more quickly and more effectively and doing your job, right? Ask for help. In some cultures, in some situations, it might be a little bit challenging or uncomfortable advocating for yourself, but, and maybe this is your boss, your boss is closest to you, as Art said, or you have a mentor, or you have someone who is in conversations that you're not in, find people to advocate for you, and you can ask them straight out to do that if you have built that good relationship with them. So it's okay to ask for help here, and then help others as well. You might have junior people on your team who aren't really good at it yet, but they're rising stars, or they're struggling, and advocating for them helps them become better, helps them build confidence, helps others see their potential, right? So you're going to help them, and again, the reciprocity comes in here. They will turn around and help you with your initiatives as well.
Sounds like a lot of good, clean power principles here, Anita.
Absolutely. We're all helping each other. So we're back to the question, what should I do, Art?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've given you some perspectives here. I think a great place to start is, first of all, recognize the incredible opportunity you have to create success, right? Create something beautiful, help others create something that's just magical for your organization, your team, your colleagues, and ultimately for yourself in your career. But we don't get there without committing. So we've got to commit to act on the topics and the approaches we've talked about here to kind of evaluate our effectiveness going forward. And, let's face it, life is a process of continuous improvement. So you need to keep improving at this. Reiterate, we don't want you to become someone that you're not. We don't want you to do anything that compromises your values. You need to, however, personalize your influence development style. And I love this. I love all of these, but I love this one in particular because there's nothing more powerful than an individual who people perceive as authentic, who people perceive is trying to do something great for the organization or a team, and that individual engaging with a sense of purpose. That sense of purpose is infectious, and I think it creates this kind of broader influence effect within the organization. And there are some uncomfortable things that maybe advocating for yourself is the one that jumps to mind. But again, there are many, many different tools and approaches and techniques to do that without becoming that person that we all don't want to be. And we know who that person is, right? You do need to stretch to assert yourself. This is absolutely a lot of work, and it's great work, and it's an opportunity that we can all use to level up. We're going to share some ideas as to how we can help you do that. This is kind of that, quick tip of the iceberg with the tools and approaches you've given. We spend many, many hours working with clients on helping them do that. And we have some ways that we can help you grow your influence. So first of all, there's just a mountain of free content at the website, and you can see the link there. I have a writing issue. I think it's a problem, Anita. I've written over 2,000 articles on leadership and management, and many of these have to do with the topic of influence. There's a category on influence, so you don't have to read all 2,000, but there's a lot there. Let's face it, we're so passionate about this. We've developed a number of programs. We have the Influence course, which is on demand, ready to go instantaneously and evergreen for people. And we base this on hundreds of hours of coaching, success, and research. And we have the Influence course. We run live versions from time to time, live online, and both are just viable opportunities to help. And we spend a lot of time coaching good professionals on this topic, so we have a coaching opportunity here. Let's talk first about the on-demand course and this Get more done faster by growing your influence theme that runs through everything that we talk about. And I love that underline there, and grow your career in the process. So here's what we have, some very passionate, motivated individuals that have been working hard on themselves to grow their influence. I love Juan's perspective, Anita. Great lessons, very helpful in understanding how to build a framework to invest my time wisely and efficiently in the purpose of strengthening my influential capabilities for the greater good. He gets clean power, doesn't he?
Mhm.
And you know what? The payoff here, not just in his working environment, but also across other aspects of his life. So wonderful perspective. Anita, how about your thoughts on Arisha's perspective?
Yeah, I like, Juan and Arisha both. It's about frameworks and foundations and a plan and really making this structured and deliberate, right? And Arisha says this has been great in establishing that foundation of what it means to be influential, starting with that foundation. And then the eye opener, how specific these programs are in developing a clean power philosophy and really making it actionable, right? In order to grow her influence, she had to create a plan, right? So it's about being deliberate.
It is. And, again, as I said earlier, people seize on that clean power approach. It's kind of the one that it's the part of this that gives people permission to say, okay, I can engage. I can do this in a way that I'm comfortable with, that doesn't compromise my values. So we've got 4 flavors. I always like to use flavors. And now I'm thinking of ice cream, and I'd like some ice cream. But we've got 4 different flavors here of influence training. The on-demand course, as I mentioned, that is available immediately. A live-on course. We run it several times per year. We do organization-focused training, so we tailor it to your organization's needs, and one-on-one coaching. There are literally no excuses for not leveling up your influence with 4 different options. So Nina's going to share a little bit about the on-demand course, which you were a key architect in developing.
Yeah, that was great fun to develop this course. So we have 7. It's a lot, but it's great content, right? The action-packed lessons, with approaches for growing your influence and growing your career. Like Art said, evergreen. Our philosophy is that this is an ongoing self-development, right? And improvement, evaluate, reassess. And there's a lot in this course. So we wanted you to be able to take step by step, small steps at a time. So you have access to this course indefinitely. I won't say forever because that's a pretty strong word.
It's a long time, but we're going to come close. We'll come close to it. So
internet might disappear. I don't know. You never know. And then we have downloadable ideas to actions guides. These are very structured, tangible. Here's how to apply this lesson. So our clients have found those extremely valuable. And then on demand, you don't always have that interactivity, but you have email access to me and Art for any questions. So you still have a little bit of the live part there, the human touch. So if you have questions when you're going through the course or trying to apply it, you can always reach out to me and Art to ask those questions and get a little guidance.
Absolutely. And here's a look at some of the lessons.
Yeah, these are great lessons. So reframing your view on developing influence, like we talked a little about, hinted at today, a whole lesson on how to assess your organization's political environment. It's not as easy as just mapping something, right? Growing your influence upward. This is another area of discomfort for a lot of people. We talked about that gap between the executive level, right? We all need to learn how to influence upward. It's really important and become comfortable with that. Mm-hmm. Developing your network, spotting those gray zone opportunities.
My favorite lesson.
Exactly. It's easy to talk about all these things on screen, and you talk about gray zone opportunities, and in the lesson we talk about what those are, but it's a little difficult to spot them. So we talk about that too. Influencing through positive persuasion. That is a science that is something that takes a lot of practice. So we talk about positive persuasion, and then a whole lesson about advocating for yourself and really how to do that really well.
So much goodness in that course. And the evergreen, to reiterate the evergreen component, because there's so much here, we encourage clients to run through it the first time and then come back and do lessons individually and apply the lessons and put the ideas into action. And that's why we have the very detailed ideas to action guides.
Absolutely. And you start small. You take small steps and start with one area where you're where you feel that you need the most improvement, start there, right?
Yeah, I love these guides in particular, and you hear me say it all the time. Everything sounds easy on screen. It
Hmm.
always sounds, it's, Anita and I both teach in classroom settings, and everything sounds easy if it's up on the PowerPoint or you're talking
Right.
about it. But try to put it to work. That's where the real learning takes place, and that's one of the core value points of our programs is
Absolutely.
bringing actions to the ideas. So the on-demand course is available literally right now, anytime, doesn't matter where you are. So that's a wonderful thing. And we're really thankful for you being here, focused on helping yourself level up and grow your influence. And in our thanks for that, we've got a special rate for you. So you can see the rate on screen, $100 off of the actual list price of this offering at $178. We hope you'll take advantage of this. And you know what? As Anita highlighted, when you get involved with that particular course, you still have access to us. Try do that with any of the other online on-demand type forums. That just doesn't exist out there. We are so passionate about helping people grow and succeed with this program.
Absolutely.
And then we take this live online, right? I know that I see you on screen there. You love this portion, don't you?
That's us, yes. This works better for some people. We recognize the different factors people are dealing with, different learning styles and preferences, and we love this live online format as well. It's small groups like you see here, 3 2-hour sessions. You still have the ideas to actions guides. You get a one-on-one coaching session, which is always great fun, and the progress we make in just that one coaching session to apply it to an individual's specific situation and factors is very powerful. And then again, the email access to me and Art for any of your questions.
Powerful experiences. People love the live experiences, and it's great. But I've always wanted to say this, Anita. Do I get to say this? But wait, there's more. So we run these a few times a year. You'll have to check our website or click on the link to see that. But one of the things we're doing, if you've come through the webinar on this program, we are happy to add an additional one-on-one coaching session. What we would do is meet with you ahead of the live online event, and then probably shortly after the end or near the end, and make certain that you've got a fabulous plan to bring your influence development activities to life in your organization. So great value, incredible opportunity, and we would love to support your efforts. Anita, you want to take this one? I think you found this.
Sure. Yeah, this is a great quote. This can feel very overwhelming. And sometimes some of the most frustrating things is when we can't change something, right? So we want you to focus on what you can control. And this program really does that for you. It helps you do that. The factors that you can control, your reputation, delivering on your promises, getting better at decision making, right? Collaborating, and those essential elements. We love the essential elements. Some people call these soft skills. They're essential. They're essential. And your influence will naturally grow. So this whole program is about that. This quote just magically sums up what our influence programs help you do.
What a wonderful way to cap things off. So if you have any questions on any of the content that you've heard here, you can see the email addresses on screen. We're very searchable on the web, but feel free to reach out, and we're happy to share ideas and give you some guidance. And certainly we're happy to talk to you about the programs. But most importantly, we can't thank you enough for being here today, for spending time. We're always honored to support your efforts and your growth. And Anita, thank you for joining me in this endeavor.
You're welcome. And thank you from on behalf of myself as well for joining us. We are very passionate about this, and we do think that this can have a huge impact on your career and your life. That's why we do this.
All right, it's time to go out and bring those ideas to life in the form of actions. We'll look forward to seeing you and supporting you in the future. Take care.